Afghanistan was not invaded and attacked to overthrow the Taliban. That came a couple of weeks later. It was attacked because George Bush demanded that the Taliban hand over Osama bin Laden and associates to the United States. The Taliban vacillated. They indicated they might consider it if there was evidence provided. But the United States refused to provide evidence.
So you wouldn't accept that what happened and continues to happen in Afghanistan with the American and NATO presence is in any sense just? A just war, a just conflict?
I think it's a very weak argument. Basically not. In fact, if you want to know the truth, I think it's one of the most immoral acts in modern history.
One of the most immoral.
And let me explain why. That if you look back at October 2001, the United States invaded Afghanistan because the Taliban refused to hand over suspects without evidence. Okay, now actually they had a right to do that. You're supposed to provide evidence if you want extradition. At the time, the estimates were there were about 5 million Afghans on the verge of starvation. And the estimates were that if the United States bombed, it might go to 2.5 million more. In fact, the aid agencies, which were forced to leave when the bombing was announced, bitterly condemned the bombing. Take a look, it's across the board. Almost all of them bitterly condemned the bombing. Many leading anti-Taliban Afghans, including U.S. favorites, very harshly condemned the bombing.
I mean, you said millions might die within weeks.
I was reading from the New York Times report of the official estimates.
And obviously it didn't happen, but
look, to say that it didn't happen is irrelevant. When Khrushchev put missiles in Cuba, it didn't lead to a nuclear war. And I suppose some party hack would say, well, it's fine to put missiles in Cuba. It wasn't. It was criminally insane. If the worst didn't happen, that doesn't change the conditions of the choices.
The point I'm trying to get to, perhaps it's best put in a simple sense, by going to another internet question from a viewer of Hard Talk. Raphael Saint-Amour in Canada says quite simply, Mr. Chomsky, do you think the Obama administration should leave Afghanistan right now?
It can't be answered in that form, because it doesn't matter what I think. What matters is what the Afghans think. Invading armies have no rights. They have responsibilities. The prime responsibility is to pay attention to the opinions of those you're attacking. Now, if you look at the debate over Afghanistan, strikingly, one voice is missing. What do the Afghans think? Well, it's not that easy to determine, but it's not totally impossible either. For example, there happens to be an Afghan peace movement, which is pretty significant. Their voice is totally missing.